word, it's in there.
Okay, call this meeting to order. First up, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up, consent agenda. Discussion.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Unfinished business. Jeremy, do you have something?
Just a quick update if you don't mind.
What's that?
Just a quick update if you don't mind.
Sure, come on up.
I just wanted to keep the council updated. So I did complete the construction plans and specifications for First Street, the 2 blocks, all curb and gutter, sidewalk, lighting, replacement, everything. So all that is done. The IRR application was officially submitted for that. And that I have it advertised in the city's paper, another paper, and then it'll begin tomorrow. Advertise it for bids, it'll begin tomorrow. So then it'll go for 21 days, and then whatever following meeting that will be, I can at least present the bids. And then by that time, I'm not sure. I know IRR has their meeting scheduled for, I believe, the 7th, first week of August. So I think by the next meeting or shortly thereafter, I'll know whether or not we go ahead. So just want to give a brief update that everything's kind of moving forward, everything's submitted and going to be advertised. So is there any questions? I'll leave that.
Awesome.
All right.
We have professional services again.
Any questions? Nope. Okay, under unfinished business. Review animal ordinance 90.4 drafted by Attorney Lindsay.
So I apologize that this came in so late. I just had Clerk Mackey just passed it out to the council. So what I did, at the last council meeting, there was a discussion about the farm animal provision, 9004, and the ability of residents to keep chickens within the city. So what I've done is I've put together a proposed ordinance that takes, if you look at the document here, subdivision 2 basically captures the general rule that exists currently in the ordinances, which basically says that farm animals are not permitted within the residential area of the city of Keewatin. And then starting in subdivision 3, I carve out a permit exception that would allow for a limited keeping of chickens within town. And I did follow the conversations that occurred at the last meeting. No roosters, hens only. I limited the number to 3 total within the city limits, and then put certain requirements for the care and custody. They've got to be confined. The confinement has to be in a chicken coop with a chicken run that follows some fairly standard recommendations about size, but in such a way that it would keep the animals safe, and it would create a requirement that all the keeping of the animals must be in a safe and sanitary manner. And then the final provision, number one, it creates an offense for keeping chickens without the proper permitting, and then finally it creates a provision that allows any city officer or agent to do the inspection. So we don't have to designate a specific person to send time after time. The council could at any given meeting say, we authorize this official within the city to go and make inspections of the chicken coops or chicken keeping that we have in town. And so I tried to grab the pieces, the good pieces of everything that we talked about and meld it all into one ordinance.
I'll make a motion, we table for the next meeting for review.
I'll support it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Chris, did you get one of these?
The proposed ordinance?
Yeah.
No, I have not.
I'll get 'em.
Make sure you get them. Next up, update from Attorney Lindsay on property deeds with Demcon Land Exchange.
And Mayor, I apologize, I don't have an update here. I'm still trying to get in contact with the leadership at DEMCON.
We'll table that to next meeting. Seven point three, update on streetscapes entrance sign by Councilor Johnson.
Beth put this on, I'm not sure what you wanted me to talk about for sure.
You're.
Just what we're kind of doing and whatever moving forward. I had talked to the person that's doing the stone, he said it's still down in St. Cloud. And then the beams were ordered, there was a mix-up with US Steel. They switched guys around, didn't know that the work was done. And I just thought I'd better send an email, find out what's going on. They responded, they delivered the next day. So I haven't heard back from Asaba Sign. I called them today, they were in a meeting. But they're gonna start, the beams are up on site and they're gonna move forward. It's going forward, so. Not a whole bunch, but it's getting there. And I believe when you did it, is it September, it was 26th or something, 24th? Beth had, we had to fill in, would you have to fill in something?
We
to
did an
it?
extension on the IRRB grant to
Yeah.
go till September of 2023.
Oh, the end of September it is then? Okay. I wasn't sure where it was, but I knew it
And we
was
will
in
meet that
September.
date?
Pardon me?
We meet that date? Will the project be completed by
As far as
September?
I understand it, yes, because what goes in when they put those beams in right now, they have to cure for 28 days, but the other stuff is just putting it on the side. It's, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think we should be absolutely fine from the way it looks, as far as what I've been told up to this date, yeah. So, I know, I'm kind of excited to have it done, believe me, yeah.
Okay, next up, 7.4, update on installation and removal of countertops at the community center.
And then I see Beth had submitted, or Rob or someone put some pictures in, of the countertop. I talked to LNS Plumbing. He has, we paid him for the removal of the dishwasher over so it's flat against the wall. And then you can see where it fits behind the countertop. US Steel, put that piece of iron or steel in front of the dishwasher. That's gonna have to be cut out. That was not on the original plans, but Neil switched, someone else did it. Whatever, we're gonna have to tweak a few things, but it was given to us. I don't know what else, the plans weren't folded exactly to what we had specified, but yeah. The sink is there and Jake is going to be coming in the end of next week or the second week in August, he said. And then the sink will be hooked up. So it's just about done.
Probably a good thing that it didn't get hooked up yet, because I was up there today and I kind of inspected it. On the front lip, where it wraps around on the front, it's like razor sharp right there, the whole length, all the way around. If somebody puts their arm under there and rubs their arm, they're gonna get cut. It's
So,
gonna have to be pulled out of there and grind it down.
oh,
And I wouldn't suggest grinding it in there, because if any of them splinters fly and get on somewhere and somebody gets it in their food or something, it could be big problems. The other thing I noticed was the way they welded it. Why did they burn onto the
Stainless steel.
top.
I can't answer
No,
that.
I'm not
yeah.
saying it's your fault, I'm just saying why.
When I did see that though, Mickey, I asked Eric, is there something we could do to sand that? Because they had a big plastic coat over sticky stuff, you know? So I was pulling all that off and da-da-da. Some of that is plastic, and he thought that we should be able to take real fine stainless steel.
Mhm.
Okay,
I would
that's,
give it a try, I'm not saying it's gonna do it, but you start off with something kind of gritty and then work your way, you know.
and I was disappointed. I mean, I'm happy they did it, but is it perfect the way
There was a
we want
coating
it?
over the top.
Yeah, the
Well, see, they
plastic.
probably didn't even know that the weld went through then.
Oh yeah, they
Oh,
hauled
they
it
were
in
there
there.
when you opened it, pulled it off?
They carried it in and physically put it in place. So they saw it,
Yeah.
US Steel. Yeah, it was
I
kind
just
of
don't-
cut.
I
I
can't,
understand there's
there's
some,
other ways that you can tack that so you can't see it. And they tacked it from the bottom and the welds came through the top, so you see 6 welds.
Okay, so
Like
that's
this.
those
Those
spots.
things.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
looks
you give it a
really
try, you get
tacky.
them off.
but we
I
don't know
mean-
if we're gonna be able to fix it, so I don't wanna
Right.
say anything
No.
until we
But
get
this
in
has to be
there.
taken care of. Just go up
So-
there, rub your finger
I
right
noticed
here.
that.
Oh.
So who did the welding?
US Steel's the one
Oh.
that put it all together for us.
Okay.
They bought everything. They bought all that stuff, you know, put it together. It's 2 separate pieces.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that has to be adjusted, obviously, you notice that, but
even though it's stainless steel, is that up to code with those marks on there? I mean,
I don't
that's
think
an
that's a
issue.
problem once you sand them down and clean them. There'll always be a blemish there. You're not gonna make it perfect.
okay, I mean, here it looks, I haven't seen it in person, but I'm just wondering.
no. I thought the same thing when I saw it, but I
Okay.
mean, wasn't there when they delivered it, and I suppose we can call and say, come take it back. I don't know.
No,
Not-
I wouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. It is what it is, and we're gonna have to work with it and try and straighten it out.
Does the sink go where the seam is? Is that why the seam is there? Where does the sink go, Susan?
Right where it's at, it's in place.
Oh, okay.
It goes down by this is the window over here,
Mhm.
to put the dishes through. There's just a seam over on the other side of the dishwasher. Yeah, you can see it right there,
Okay.
yeah.
So it's one of those situations where they were kind enough to provide and
Right.
gave it, and it's got problems. And so,
Well, that lift needs to be grinded down.
That-
It's not
that's
that
it.
big a deal.
and these big, because this,
Those are gonna be a big deal.
you'll try to sand them down, I mean, what do you, like you said, this is, I mean.
Maybe
it's
they
something
can-
you come
If
grab
they take it out, they can work on that too. And see what they can do maybe.
But no, we had talked about it definitely, but it's not what we thought we were gonna get, but
Was it new or was it used?
it was brand new, that we pulled this
Okay,
sticky, you know, stuff off. They cut it to size, they did all that.
so when,
And Eric wasn't happy. He thought it was gonna be one continual. I said, I heard them say they weren't doing that. He goes, that's not what I said. Well, I can't help it. I heard them, they were doing 2 pieces.
so that's,
So-
well, like you said, welding.
He heard something different than I did, and
And those don't really line up either. Are they gonna, once they hook the sink up?
they will.
Then they'll
Because
line up.
the reason they're not lining up is that bar in front of the dishwasher. You can't push it all the way back. That's why it has those screw legs on the bottom. We can adjust it. You know, it needs some tweaking. Yeah. Yeah.
When well, you weren't there when it was running, I was just wondering, those lights come off? How did they get it into the room? Was there enough
They
room?
lifted it through the wash bay window,
Okay,
the sink.
so you can get them out of there then.
Well, that's what I was thinking, we might even have to do that, you know, for the plumber. I don't know if he's gonna want that. I don't know, you know. But he's gonna come and look at it. He wants to finish it. He wants it off his, you know, understandably. And yeah, we'll get it fixed as best we can. And
Counselor Thompson, did you say when the plumber's coming?
he said next week, which would be towards the end of August or towards the end of the first week or the second week in August. And he should be completed.
Where did there was a countertop up there?
The countertop I took back, like I explained to you when you were up there with me, and I said that we had two of the countertops back to back in the kitchen that I had purchased, and I was leaving one up there, but I was gonna take the other one. And then that's when US Steel made us that custom one, because in 2016, when we opened it up, we had those two long ones. One is in there right now, and then the custom one is behind it, which has dishes in it and stuff, but we made it shorter so the garbage can fit on the side. Then we took that other second long one, put it in the washroom and used it there, and then they still wanted another stainless steel, and that's when Helen Grahawk's family donated that big, the long one by the sink on the west wall, yeah. So.
Any further discussion?
And that was all I don't remember exactly when Helen had passed away, but the other two were purchased in 2016. If there's any questions in there, like I had said to Beth, you could probably look back in 2016 and see that I had purchased them. And one I was gonna take back, you know, if that's an issue in there, just so everyone knows. But it was done before the fourth, you know, if I'm remembering correctly. And then we moved it to the other end. US Steel purchased that other one, and it was, I think, 32 or 3,600 for that custom table too. So they've been nice.
So I just have I just want to be sure that we can be, if this is okay with the attorney,
Okay.
just because I don't want backlash coming saying from anybody
What?
regarding if you're taking something, just that's okay if she purchased it at some point and then is taking it back. Is that okay, or is that not okay?
So we purchased something and we're returning it, or,
No.
Well, we were using it up there.
okay,
I purchased two of them. One, I'm sure it states in the minutes in 2016 is when I purchased them.
property that was on loan to the city?
Yeah, that's what I would say it was, but only one piece. I only took one piece back. My full intentions were to leave the other one, which I did.
So we replaced the counter
Yeah.
with this, and then she's taking one back, right? You bought two and taking one back.
If it was loaned property, there's no problem with returning it to the owner once the use by the city is over. It's different than if the city had ownership of it. If the city had ownership.
No,
then
it was purchased
Yeah.
with my name. It was delivered to the city, but it was purchased all in my name. City had no money transactions in it whatsoever. Mm-mm,
And it was never dedicated to the city specifically.
absolutely
It
not.
was always
Loan.
understood that it was on loan.
Mhm.
If it's on loan, then it can be returned to the owner, unless it was dedicated or became property of the city, in which case you have to go through the
One
process.
table was dedicated along with the flagpole, and that was in honor, and it's in the minutes.
Okay.
Like I had stated to Beth when we were discussing it. So.
A return of loan property is acceptable.
Okay, thank you.
All right, number 8, new business. Discussion on flushing city water line on private property. All right, when I used to be the supervisor on here, when we did water line jobs at people's houses when they were plugged, I had the people have to have a ball valve put in and their plumbing fixed up ahead of time, so when we went into the house or the basement, that it was ready for us to clean the line. Okay? So I don't know where we got away from that, but we haven't been, I don't think we've been doing it, so I just wanted to bring that up. It's a lot bigger job for the city when they have to do all the plumbing to access the line to clean it.
Kelvin did ball valves, you know how he did it with raw
Right.
water running.
And we're
So
not,
he changed ball valves for individuals also, and he would be soaking wet, but he'd have that water running and,
Yeah.
he was
But
Yeah,
it's really not
interesting
legal
leader.
for the city to be doing plumbing in somebody's
Mhm.
house.
And I
You
understand
know,
that.
and I did them too at times, but if we
Okay.
got behind like we are now because of everything that goes on, and that's one of the things we did, we just said, you know what? And Corellas were doing quite a bit of it, and L&M,
Yeah.
from Hibbing, whatever they would call it, L&S.
Mhm.
They'd come over and then we told them how we wanted it done, and that's how they do it. And then we just come and use our ball valve on it, or whatever, we had to ream it or blow it with air compressor. Whatever it takes, but sometimes you just can't get them either, and then you end up digging, so.
Yeah.
Mayor? So I think the discussion came up just because the projects in the city are not getting taken care of because we're assisting homeowners to clean their water lines. So that's taking more time on some of them. So I think that's why the discussion came up on here. And I think granted, it's great to help people out in their water and do what we can, but I think we need to have our priorities on getting the city things that need to get work done before. And if these people have to have it done, maybe they need to be told, we have a list, they'll get to it when they have time, or you need to call your own plumber. I don't know.
One suggestion, if I may, Mayor,
Mhm.
one suggestion I may make is, I've worked with a couple of cities, and where I've seen this issue come up more regularly is with thawing water lines, but I think a lot of the same concepts translate. One of the best approaches that I've seen to kind of handling this is have the city develop a policy that says when we will do it, when we won't do it, and what our requirements are for doing it. You know, we could say, we're not gonna do anything inside of your home, we'll do it for, in these conditions, or if we're going to do it, you've gotta do X, Y, and Z first. And we'll only come out and do them when the city crews are caught up, but give people information about how they can contact us to find out whether it's happening, and just so that everybody's expectation is managed about when it'll happen and when it won't. And then have it as an alternate to it, say, if you've really got an issue, here's a list of contractors that we've worked with in the past. We can't endorse any contractors. You'd have to say you can use anybody you want to, but here's some that have been doing work in town. And if you're in a rush or if there's a demand for it, you may want to call one of these folks.
I think we should do that.
I like the policy.
Yep.
Okay, I like it too, but there's also the fact that there is an ordinance, I think, on the books that says that anything from the curb shut off in is yours, and everything from to the center of the road is the city's.
Yep.
Mhm.
So we have overlooked that over the years to clean water lines.
And in my experience, that kind of reinforces the policy, because the policy then, the city's not mandated to go in and do any services, especially where, from the curb stop to the home, or from the shut off to the home, where it's the landowner's, the homeowner's responsibility. It reinforces that the city's not obligated to do that. And typically, that type of a policy would open with some recitals that indicate that the city, wants to assist the citizenry, and it's in the city's best interest to maintain working knowledge of how to do these things. So doing them from time to time is beneficial both to homeowners and to the city, but also expresses the city acknowledges that we are not required to do these services. So we may say, you're gonna have to find somebody else.
And I think having a drawing of
Right, how
Here's
we want it.
the curb stop, here's
I know we
yeah.
had one around here before, so you know if there's one in the.
I don't remember seeing one for a long time.
To go along with the
Mhm.
policy, so they know this is my responsibility in red, this is the city's in yellow or
You'd
whatever.
be surprised, a lot of houses already have them in, but
Mhm.
they didn't follow the policy of where you have to go down and use your ball valve every now and then to clean it out, and it plugs up.
And hooked up that other.
Yeah.
But this policy is very similar to the frozen water line that
Yeah.
we got rid of too. It
Mhm.
really is.
Yeah.
Right. And I understand the liability issue. We don't need the trouble.
No,
Yeah.
so, make a motion for the attorney to draft a policy for flushing water lines for the public.
One question, are we gonna, I don't know how many people, Beth, because they come up to the city hall, correct? To get on the list
Mhm.
and you give it the work order or whatever?
Mhm.
I think that, I don't know for sure, but, how many people do you think are on there? I mean, are we gonna cut them off from this year or finish it and say at the end of this year, we're done? That's what I'm saying, if
Then you'll
we've
get-
taken their name.
If you do that, you'll get 500 people come in and sign
Mhm.
up.
No, the list is there is what I'm saying,
There's like
not
20
add
or
to it.
25
there's
on
a
it,
lot
I think,
on
something
there.
like that,
I just,
yeah.
Oh, wow, I did
And
not
I think
know
it
that.
should just be, they should be told, when we can get to you, we get.
there's 24 people on the list.
24.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay.
And moving forward, this is our policy. Even though they're on the list,
But we're not
We
doing
weren't
it
promised.
anymore after this date is, you're gonna put that in there, like, or no?
No,
well,
we'll
I
still
think
do
these
it, but they gotta
people
get
be
their
on the
stuff
list,
prepared
but they
ahead of
need to
time.
get ready,
And we do it when we can.
Okay.
or whatever's, yeah.
So a letter or something is gonna be sent, or how are all the residents gonna be notified of this change?
Once,
Well,
I'm sorry, once the policy is adopted, I've commonly seen it go out as an insert in the utility bills.
Mhm.
Good idea.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
Do we have a first? Do we have a second?
no, second, okay. I made the motion.
I'll second it then with that additional information.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
I,
Motion carried. New business. 8.2, request for maintenance on winter equipment prior to winter usage.
Mayor,
Yes.
I think that was, I added this on, or asked to get it added on, just so we can get an idea of what needs to get maintained right now. Is there plows that need to get welded? Is there vehicle, whatever? So we have a list and maybe you can talk to the public works and
Sure.
see where we're at so we can get moving on getting
done
that stuff
first,
ready
yes,
before
hard stuff,
snow flies.
Very good.
Okay, 8.3, under new business, approve the request for proposals for city auditor.
In your packet, we have a draft. As you recall, Fortin Company is no longer going to be doing our audit. So we'll be searching for a new auditor.
I'll make a motion to approve the draft.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
I just had one comment. Are you going to just mail this out and put it in the paper as well, or how?
What would you suggest?
Could probably do a partial, ad and then mail to firms.
Okay.
Okay.
And add in what paper?
Would go in the scenic, and do we want it in any others? Duluth,
That's what I was
Or-
thinking. I
Wasabi?
know it's a little bit more expensive, but if it's a
Yeah.
blurb,
Yeah,
In the Duluth
it
Tribune?
sees a little more people.
yeah. And then maybe mail to the firms across the range here as well.
Right.
Okay, under new business, 8.5, discussion from street department to contract welder for alley wall maintenance and street light pole. I can talk to that.
So,
Are you
Oh.
skipping 8.4?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see it there, yep, I did. We'll go back to 8.4, discussion on Glacier property lease renewal.
Mayor, I did reach out. Our lease renewal is up December of 2023. So I reached out to Mr. Waldo, who responded back to me, and I forwarded that information to the attorney. Did you have an opportunity to look through that?
I did look through it. I'm in the process of trying to create a new lease for the city. My understanding is that Clerk Mackey has actually cleared the way for us to update and to transfer some of the stale leases or stale property interests that exist there. And I know there were a number of questions. I'm putting a memo together to answer those questions. But generally speaking, we're in a pretty good position. The difficulty is as leases may turn over, or if we're eliminating leased spaces or leased areas, the homes and property that continue to remain on those will need to be removed. Generally speaking, it would be the responsibility of the sublease holder from the city. So whoever's in possession of that property through the city would be responsible for moving it. The unfortunate thing is if that party who is supposed to be responsible isn't responsible, disappears, or is unable, the lease that the Glacier has with the city would require the city to remove those structures and personal property. So it can become fairly difficult. And so what I'm trying to do is in an updated lease that we would use and put in place for the folks that we as a city lease to, that we sublease to, I'm trying to include some language that will put some more teeth into it to help us a little bit more and make it very clear to each of the owners that if that property needs to be vacated or when they vacate, unless they receive permission from the city or permission to transfer the personal property and structures that exist there, they are responsible for removing.
Yes.
For those leases that the owners have are deceased and they approved that they could be transferred to the new tenants or their children, do they create that lease or is that the city's responsibility?
We will create that. That's the new one that I'm working on, is as a general form for the city to use to enter all those leases.
Okay.
Because we want to have control of the language in that one.
Thank you.
I have a question with that. So if we do it that way and we're switching over the lease, are we also making them register as owners to the property at Itasca County? Okay,
Correct. They are responsible for property taxes.
because then they're gonna take all, but it has to be recorded in their name, right? Okay. Because that's what I'm saying, if they're gonna leave the delinquent taxes over there, which is deep, that's where my issue is. If we change the lease, means nothing to what we're getting back from Itasca, even no matter what, it's there, but.
And what makes this situation a little bit unique is generally municipalities don't stand as sublessors. So we're actually tenants to Glacier, and we create subtenants to us through these leases. But basically, that's the arrangement with Glacier. Glacier said, we'll give you possessory control of this property, and you can kind of use it as the city deems most appropriate, so long, obviously, as we clear those things with through Glacier. And so it gets a little bit more complicated just because there's a longer string there, but essentially it works the same. The city is landlords to our subtenants. So.
Yeah. I'm just curious to see how that's gonna get changed over there, but we'll see what happens. It's a funny, with some of them are touchy. And they don't wanna do that. They'll pay their utilities, they'll take over the lease, but I'm not taking over the back taxes and doing all that. And there's tons of people that don't pay the taxes, so that's all money that we should have. And that's why I get a little,
Well, it does get dicey.
yeah, hopefully, and there's good ones, absolutely, and that are paying their lease amounts, but that's fine. I mean, I just got a little concerned there, that's all.
Well, and the date is actually 2024, December 31st, 2024.
That's what I thought it was.
And it can get a little bit interesting because obviously the leverage that the city has is to say, okay, you're not going to pay your property taxes. You can pay a house moving or structure moving company to come move your structure off. Those are your options. Or
That's a tough one.
yeah.
That's good.
But
Yeah.
ultimately, we can do that and we can essentially evict people.
Okay.
So.
Just so we don't end up with the property in the end.
I-
That's the bad part. because it's expensive to tear down.
I don't think all of them would do that, but I can see a few of them, yeah.
It's half,
Yeah.
for sure.
So I have a question.
Interesting.
So the ones that are along the alley, they're paying taxes on across them? Are they getting assessed for those or not?
No,
Or is it
that's
just
not
the
them.
home?
Yeah, it's
It's
just the
all-
house.
It's just the
yeah.
ones, okay,
The
so they're not,
parcel.
okay,
You're not included.
okay.
That was acquired just by time.
They had done it years ago,
Yeah.
Hastings did, but then it got stopped.
Yeah, that seems to be
Harry
the
and
understanding.
Yeah, which is interesting, but that's just this change
Mhm.
with Glacier and Burlington Northern Santa Fe 50 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So there's just change in it, that's all. But interesting.
Chris, how's that cleanup going over there?
It's the one guy and August 1, they're gonna get real here, so.
I see on the farther down, it looks like it cleaned up a little bit. The one right in the middle, I'm not sure who stuff that is, they got like a structure built in there,
It's all one guy
all the one guy,
on the west side.
yeah,
Because Hastings is almost non-existent,
that's good over there, yeah.
pretty much, it's just this one.
Okay. Any further discussion? We good? Okay, now we'll get to A5. Discussion from street department to contract welder for alley wall maintenance and street light pole. There, Eric has asked me to bring this up, that they would like to hire a welder to re-weld a pole that got knocked down this winter. It's all rusted on the bottom. And they also have some welding on one of the plugs. And they don't have a welder, I don't know right now, they can do it, I guess. That's why they must be asking. So they're asking permission to do that, and I know years ago we used to do it. We hired, Jerome Hagley used to come in and weld for us, and, John Plusher used to come in and work on the diesels, engines, so.
You get quotes and bring back to the council, or they just do it in-house? Because it has to
Well,
be done.
that's something we discuss, yeah. They'll have to, get some quotes from some people. The other thing is, Pam brought up insurance, what they're working on, if somebody gets hurt.
Or
Yeah, anything
the
like that,
building
Brian?
starts on fire from welding.
Say we hire some miner that, good welder, this is a side job, he comes in and does the welding for us.
You should do, even if it's a project-based insurance policy, you should have some sort of an insurance policy.
So we'll probably have to hire it out, we'll probably have to haul it somewhere to get it done.
I got a question.
Okay.
So the light pole that fell, I mean, it is repairable to put back up or
Yeah, you can buy
not?
the bases
Okay.
for them, they're
So they're-
about
all right.
4 foot,
They'll
so
just
you cut the
replace
pole
it.
off and
Okay.
re-weld it on the top. But it's a little bit tricky, it's hexagonal and it's gotta be straight,
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and it's thin.
okay. And then the other question, on our applicants did you happen to check to see if they're qualified as welders? Our employees, did you check on that or?
Eric and I both discussed that both of them can weld. One does a specific type of welding and the other one does a different type of welding.
Okay, so they can like TIG weld or whatever, or what, I don't know what kind of,
So then why are we
why are we doing this
asking
then?
for a welder then? Too busy or something, or?
I can
I
ask.
guess we better table this until Eric's here.
Can I ask just another question?
Yes.
I thought we had insurance on them, aren't those poles, am I
Yes,
missing?
the pole should be insured,
Are they
you couldn't buy a brand new pole, and put it up.
But aren't they insured?
Yes,
It should be.
So, because I thought, if it's broken, then that should be covered under the
that's what
policy.
most cities do. They just-
Well, what's our dedeductible?
I don't know, Jerry, but
500?
I used to have a couple poles all the time, just sitting in, up there by
Yeah.
on the side, so that if you do hit one or somebody hits one, it's like.
Or if they rust.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have a couple of poles.
They get a lot of
some
salt on them,
spares,
yeah.
You know,
But I would assume putting it in and all of that labor and all that would be included in any insurance claim? Or no?
Probably not.
No, just the pole?
I don't know.
If you contract it out,
Yeah,
of
Yeah,
course,
we wouldn't-
but-
I don't think-
we didn't file a claim when it happened, so
Gotcha.
we're gonna go 4 months later and try and file a
Yeah.
claim, I mean.
By the time you hire a welder, okay, and pay for getting that thing welded on the bottom, you're just by whole, put it up for now. Until we get caught up and these guys can practice, maybe take this one and practice on it, to get it down, then they can weld them if they want. But when we started ordering those bases, we were doing like 20 of them,
Yeah,
not just one, you know.
well, I suggest that if we have employees that can weld, then I guess, then we should have them welding. And second of all, I think with the alley plow, that's kind of like the maintenance thing on the winter stuff that I was looking for. So, if that can get welded, then I guess they should probably do that too. So I'll make a motion to, have a directive to the street department to complete the welding on the alley plow and street light pole base.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. 8.6, adopt resolution 2023 to accept all donations for the 4th of July, 2023. Yes, clerk?
I need to amend that resolution to remove Minnesota Power and create a resolution to be put on the agenda for the next meeting to accept that we applied for a grant and accept the funds from Minnesota Power.
I'll make a motion for the resolution to, well, I have some other comments on it, I guess. So Keewatin Sinclair, this was the money, the 500 that they gave for the beanbag tournament, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'd like to include on here that they did donate all the items for the games. So they donated the eggs, the water balloons, all the stuff for the kids' game. So that should be part of their donation as well, if you want to list that as a separate
Okay,
item.
there was a lot of things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe variety of items donated by Sinclair for the games, 4th of July games or something.
What else?
And then updating the resolution to remove the grant, the money from MPNL.
And I think we need the correct spelling on Schreiberger's.
And to adjust Schweiberger
How do you spell that?
spelling. SCHWEI, no, yeah. BERGR.
Okay.
And I believe the Northwind Church, did they not do freeze pops and
Yes.
popcorn or something?
Yes.
Yes, they did.
Okay. So I'll approve with those adjustments.
Okay.
I'll make the motion with those adjustments.
Well, second it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. 8.7, under new business, discussion on roof replacement for lab and bar screen building. That one left, I suppose.
Yeah. I had this one added on. The roof needs to get replaced on the lab building,
Yes.
bar screen. So I'll make a motion that we request quotes to replace the roof. Or obtain quotes to replace the roof.
We can't run that under, in our grants that we have now, since all the controls for that was put in that building.
I can discount.
I think that's something we can use grant money for.
If we have any.
We have money from that Nashua deal. But they're not gonna do that.
Okay, so you wanna hold off, but we'll still have to get quotes,
Yeah.
whether regardless if we
Right.
do it or it comes from, wherever the
We're gonna
money
get it
comes
done
from.
one way or the other.
So we still need to do quotes. So I'll make a motion to obtain quotes to re-roof it.
Well, second it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Motion carried.
Mhm.
8.8, under new business, discussion drafting cannabis ordinance that would prohibit smoking cannabis in public places. Chris?
Hi, just wanted this as food for thought for you guys. You've seen the news, of course, we all know what's becoming illegal, what's legal on August 1st. Duluth, I think, is the first city to kind of step up and maybe try to pass an ordinance because the state pretty much left us with no guidance until they get their Office of Cannabis Management up and running and enforcement guidelines. It's kind of been left on individual cities. And I bring it up because of just like personally, I don't care. Like it's legal now, great, go enjoy it, it's fine. If that's your thing, cool. Just like, I mean, it's on the books, you can't walk around with a fifth of whiskey pumping that or whatever. And cannabis is an intoxicating substance and not everybody enjoys the smell and or the secondhand smoke, which can be intoxicating. And if you're in a park and if you're with kids, I mean, if you can, right now it's pretty much if you can smoke a cigarette somewhere, that's you can smoke it. So I just think as a council in the city, we should think about maybe curtailing that a little bit. That's a problem in your house, in your yard, private property, if the bars want to allow it in like the fenced off areas or behind the quad and Legion, not out on the sidewalks. But I would think city park, street sidewalks is a good starting point, and Brian can take a look at what like the Duluth seems a little harsh with the $300 fines, but just I'm not more concerned about fines, more about just saying this is where you can use it. So I think it's something we should maybe think about.
Mayor?
Yes.
So we had a discussion about this last night at our council meeting. I'm not sure what our tobacco ordinance reads. Does it say anything about smoking in parks or anything like that?
That I would have to double check.
Okay, because if that's in there and
It's
the
grandfathered in pretty much. If we have ordinances like that,
smoking,
smoking
yeah, in the
cigarettes.
parks, right, then this would be included. And I know in ours, it does have with
Yeah.
vaping and different things like that. So I'm not sure where the, what the ordinance here states.
Yeah. I would have to look at it too.
But yeah, we might want to take a look at that, and if it's good to go, then we're probably good to go. But as far as, city street sidewalks, things like that is all included in the,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Well, you have issue with that, I mean, that's up to each individual person. I mean,
Mhm.
if you're walking by the sidewalk here or any other small town USA and you're waiting across with your lights and someone's walking right next to you with your little kids, I don't know. Or even
Well,
like you want it.
It's not legal to do that if it's on a city sidewalk. But if someone is, they can be asked not to do it. And apparently if they don't listen, then they can be fined
that's for
going
tobacco.
forward.
That's for tobacco. or cannabis.
No, for cannabis.
It's just so unclear right now to get Brian's help on it. They just said when I first came out, like, how all the handouts we got on it in the law enforcement side was, and what I read was, okay, it's only allowed on your private property or in your house, great. I've been told, no, you gotta dig deeper, that's not what it says. The state doesn't have any really guidelines and things like that, just basically where the Clean Air Act prohibits cigarettes and anything any current city ordinances that already prohibit smoking of cigarettes like in parks, if that's in each individual city ordinance, you're fine, but I just think it's something I and we as a city to take a look at. Well,
I would like some put in there that it
Yeah.
can't be smoked around kids.
Well, and it is
Kids
21 and
want to
under,
be
you
part of it.
can't. It is in there. And there's a good webinar on the League of Minnesota Cities, and if anyone wants to hop on there, and I think Beth watched it the other day as well, so, yeah. Until they actually, even the edibles, if anything's being sold, we should probably have an update our ordinance on that.
yeah, there's no sales, I mean, you can't.
Right.
That isn't supposed to get until March 25, I think, or even the state will
Well,
give you a license.
I think, yeah. But they can still, I think if they're being sold, I don't know if they're being sold in town anywhere, but,
The current one, like the gummies, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just,
yeah,
I think.
there
it's
needs to be an
gonna come
ordinance
back.
on that as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you wait till the Office of Cannabis is set up and then they will start implementing all that as well. But if whatever was legalized last year through this legislature is being sold, I know we didn't do a moratorium here, but a lot of cities did moratoriums on that and they're coming up. So your option is to either make an ordinance or wait until the Office of Cannabis is open.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Which is January 1st, 2025, I guess, so.
Some ways away. You don't want any
Mhm.
nefarious.
Right.
People selling pot around at their garage.
So, and I mean, selling is not legal, so anybody that's selling is illegal as of August 1st. Well, it's illegal anyway, right now, but.
There is gummies around being
Mhm,
sold, so it is
Yeah.
obviously something that needs to be addressed.
Right.
and As a starting point, anyway.
mhm.
Because
So yeah, maybe we need to, did you happen to look at the tobacco?
Mhm.
Is anything in there about parks or?
Uh,
Non-smoking? No?
Not in a public place. I provided you with a copy of that as well.
Yeah, and I took a look at two provisions. One was the tobacco licensing provisions. That doesn't speak on where tobacco can be used. And then the second, I checked streets and sidewalks just to see if we had made a blanket prohibition. I didn't see it in there.
Okay.
So it's something we'll probably want to get.
We'll want to get going on. Mhm.
Okay. I'll- You can contact the program, I can work on it too.
Thanks.
Yeah, I
Thanks.
think it needs to be.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we need to get something.
Thanks.
Sure, I'll make a motion to allow the attorney and police chief to draft an ordinance regarding the cannabis possession.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Commission report, anything on zoning?
Next meeting, applicants.
No, we did a few things for Spire, got their signage and got that approved, and that's about it. Did we get anybody to apply? Did
We
get
have
any
one
applications?
applicant.
Okay. Did we, when was the closing date?
I thought the closing date would be before your next meeting. In the paper, I think it's the end,
It's what?
the end of the month, end of July.
Yeah, but we have to approve it tonight because our next meeting is August 7th. So it would go on today's agenda.
I'm sorry. Do you
So,
want me to go grab it?
sure. Oh. Well, I guess, yeah. So,
Well, they don't have to be here.
no, he doesn't have to be here.
So is it closed? Or is it still? does it
I don't
still
know
remain
what
open?
she had for the date. I don't remember, was it in the minutes of the last meeting? No, there's no date. I don't know if there was on the ad. Did you have a date on the ad? So then we have to wait. We can't approve it then.
Okay. But you do have one applicant, Randy Nash.
Brian, would we be able to approve this application now and then contingent upon not receiving or something anymore?
Yeah, you can make a contingent appointment.
Okay.
How
Okay,
many do we have completely then?
Would be five.
It would be.
Yeah.
five, Then we're good.
okay, I'll make a motion to appoint Randy Nash to the remaining 3-year term on the zoning, planning and zoning commission, contingent upon no other applications being received by July 28th.
I'll support.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Say announces you want me to.
The city clerk received the local government aid of $208,476. We also got a compliment on the fire department. A resident has a caretaker in town, and the caretaker had to leave town for the weekend. And the volunteer fire department stepped in and changed their bandages and checked on them, keeping them out of the nursing home. I thought that was very nice.
Nice, very good. Thank you.
Fire
Fire
department.
department. I could give a little report on up here at Spire. Minnesota Power came in and moved all the wires and put everything underground so we didn't have to dig the street up, move the poles in the alley, rehooked everybody up, and MediaCom and Internet. Is it Bell Telephone? Who's doing that telephone now up there? I think it's an outfit we hired.
CTC.
I think they were in there and they put in that, everybody's been doing it underground, so that's gonna really start moving the bank. Now we got that done, so we can put the footings in and start building.
It's going smoothly.
Very nice. Anything else?
Yeah, I have a comment. I saw in the news last night that the splash pad is in Gilbert, and it looks really nice.
I heard
It's
that.
really big, and it's very nice. So,
It's been there,
Dang.
for a few weeks.
I
yeah,
heard
yeah,
that.
it was on the news, so kind of a bummer we missed out on that one.
I don't know if we could have done anything
There's
differently,
nothing
honestly.
I know.
So the thing that's in Gilbert, is it that Splash City?
Yeah, Splash City.
Just that big inflatable park?
Yeah.
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 Mhm.
Oh, did they-
But we have.
USDA.
Yeah.
It's a different ballgame. It's-
Plus, I think they got a lot of help from, the city over there and, Triple RB.
Just-
So. they're tied in.
I don't know if is that the public beach then? I didn't catch the name of the
Yeah,
lake.
it's not mining,
Mm.
so it's a different mine. Well, US gets over there too, so.
I think it's good for everybody to go over and check it out.
Mhm.
It looks great.
Yeah,
think it looks
does
fun.
look really nice.
Could've probably done fun, I'm not gonna lie.
I think 90 minutes was what, $24.99 or something
All
like
right,
that. Yeah.
I
Oh, you're
mean,
gonna
I wanna
video.
see them, I wanna see them do well, I wish we could have brought something like that.
I know, that would have been sweet.
Yeah. Maybe they'll do a.
Maybe if it works out really good there, somebody else will do it. But I don't know if we'll ever sell it to USDA.
In their presentation to the city, they did talk about potentially expanding, if this is a successful operation, about expanding to additional sites.
Mhm.
So, yeah, we're not.
But we'll have to work on US Steel then. I mean, that would be nice. I mean, and I've driven by the beach, there's so many people there. It's been
Brian.
very, very busy, yes, every time I go by.
It's, we've spent a lot of time out there, O'Brien has a lot of potential to
Mhm.
do good things, there's so many people that love it up
Yeah.
there, so the bathrooms is the first step.
Yeah.
Get that going, and
I agree.
it has so
Mhm.
much potential, but we have to follow the rules with that lease, and it makes it a little bit not as easy just to inflate things and put them in the water, so. But, like I said, I think it's good for people to go check it out, I love seeing people do well, so.
That's all I have.
Okay, we got a motion to go.
I'll make a motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
I-
I think
Meeting closed. Good meeting.